Hello and welcome to this demonstration on ArcGIS Pro. I'll start off the demonstration with a quote from Francis Drake, the first man to have circumnavigated the globe in 1580. "There must be a beginning of any great matter, but the continuing on to the end until it be thoroughly finished yields the true glory." So, when you open ArcGIS Pro, the software, you're greeted with this page. You can either start a new blank template of map, a global scene, which simply means like Google Earth, where you can see the whole globe. A local scene, which is a 3D scene, but not encompassing the entire globe. We'll get to these in later tutorials. You could open up any recent templates you've opened, or any recent projects. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is projects and templates. Project template, project. They are synonymous. They're one and the same thing, but they have different file extensions. This is just so that you can categorize between the two. For instance, if I select another project template in Portal, which is connected to the Arc Online cloud, you've also got computer in this pane here. This is connected to your local disk. Any folders on your computer you can access from here. But let's not concern ourselves with that right now. Let's go to My Content in the portal for online. Notice these folders here. These aren't part of the local disk on my computer, but rather they're part of the cloud on Arc Online. I've already made them. Let's go and look at the Africa folder. In here, there are two templates. You can see that by the project type. Project template. Now let's press cancel on here. Let's go to open another project. If I go to My Content and Africa, the exact same folder as before, you notice there's only one file, a project package type. The templates are still in this file, but because I'm opening another project and I'm not selecting another project template, I only have access to the project packages, not the template packages. This is so if you are part of an organization and you wish to edit or create a new map, you might want to start off with a predefined template, a template that's already been made by somebody that might contain shapefiles that you can bring into your mapping. The categorization between templates and projects is so that you don't accidentally open somebody else's projects and save over it, so that when that person comes back to edit their project, they're met with something that they haven't been editing. But if it's a template you open, then this can be used to make new projects. I'll show you this now. If you go to My Content, I'll open up Chester Zoo for the map, for the folder, and let's open up Chester Zoo template, which I made previous to this video. Click on OK. Now we can create a new project. This is a project and not a template, and I could open this project again after I've saved it from Open Another Project. A temporary file for the project will be saved in the wherever your ArcGIS is saved to your computer, in its projects folder. It's temporary because it's temporary until you save it. Once you save the project, it will save as a permanent file in your projects folder for ArcGIS. Let's name the project Chester Zoo Project. OK. As you open up the project, that is, I've opened up the Chester Zoo template and made a new project called Chester Zoo Project. You'll be greeted with a few different panes: the catalog pane, the contents pane, and a view pane. The view pane is where you view your map. The catalog pane is where different directories are stored that include certain files in your project. And the contents pane displays all of the contents contained within the map view. Let's first look at the catalog pane, and we'll bring it out of the box here and into the center of the view. If I open up the Maps directory, Chester Zoo Map, this is the view for Chester Zoo. For instance, I can close this, and it doesn't get rid of the map itself. Notice that the content has nothing in it anymore because there's no view open. But if I right-click on the maps in the catalogue and open it from here, there we go, it all comes back. You also have toolboxes, styles, and locators. We won't focus on these for this tutorial, but can become quite relevant. Let's look at the folders directory here. If we expand this, then here is the temporary folder we've created within the ArcGIS Projects folder on your local disk. The folders directory, it gives you access to your local disk, so you can access things from your computer. If I right-click folders, I can add a folder connection, and this could take me to a folder on my computer that I have shapefiles stored within, for example. And so then I can access them and drag them into this project. The databases folder contains the Chester Zoo template geodatabase and the Chester Zoo project geodatabase. This Chester Zoo project geodatabase was created by default when we created the new project from the Chester Zoo template. Geodatabases are essentially a zip folder that compresses down whatever it contains. Let's say I connect a folder from my local disk and drag in a shapefile. And then, or I create a shapefile from going up to the ribbon up here, going on to Edit, and creating one from here. I'll get into how to do that in the future, as there is a preliminary step before I can create a new shapefile. The geodatabase is where the shapefile will be saved. For instance, here we've got zone 1, 2, and 3, the monorail, the points of interest, and the pathways. All of these shapefiles are stored in this Chester Zoo map, down here, as you can see. Let's put this back down underneath, above the contents page. To see where these shapefiles are stored, we can go onto the contents, and instead of listing by drawing order, we can list by data source. Here, you have a little desktop-looking icon with a T jutting out from the side of it. This signifies that it's connected to Arc Online, and this is the world imagery, as I'm accessing that from a cloud. From here, you can see as well that there's a little cylinder. That signifies a local disk connection, and you have the directory here. Notice the ArcGIS and projects folder, the Chester Zoo project, and then within the Chester Zoo project there is the Chester Zoo geodatabase. The Chester Zoo geodatabase belongs to the template that we initially downloaded, called the Chester Zoo template, which we used to create a project. It downloaded the geodatabase from the portal. Okay? To further signify this, what I'm going to do is go to the catalog page, close the folders, we don't need to access that right now, and open up the databases, and open up the Chester Zoo geodatabase. This Chester Zoo geodatabase came alongside the template. If I hold down, click on this points of interest point shapefile, then I can move it into the Chester Zoo project geodatabase, which is the default geodatabase created when we created this new project. As you can see, it's now in both the geodatabases, but let's remove it from this geodatabase template. Delete. Yes, I'd like to permanently delete it. Notice it gets removed from the map view. This is because it's no longer contained. It was removed from this data source that I just explained. But I'd like the points of perspective to be back in the map, and so I'll drag them from the Chester Zoo project geodatabase into the map. Notice they appear again, and notice now that a new data source has been connected to the map. This, instead of it being, as you can see up here, the chesterZoo.gdb, which is the geodatabase that came with the template that I downloaded from online, we actually have the chesterZoo project geodatabase, which is the default geodatabase created when I created the new project, and it contains the points of interest, which I just added. Now, let's go back onto the listing by drawing order. We can close the chesterZoo template. That contains all of the shapefiles that we added from the template. Makes it a bit easier to manage. One thing I will explain is the difference between terminologies of shapefiles and feature classes. So far, I've been calling the objects within this geodatabase shapefiles, because that is essentially what they are. But if you notice on the type along here, it's called a file geodatabase feature class. A feature class and a shapefile are exactly the same thing, except shapefiles are stored within a local disk folder. So if I connected a folder here that contains shapefiles, I could drag them in just as I am from the geodatabase here in the databases folder. In fact, in the folders here, in the chesterZoo project, the geodatabase is stored here, both of them. Okay, so now we've got that out of the way, I'd like to just show you a bit about the attributes table. There are multiple ways of accessing an attributes table for a feature class within the contents. To access the attributes table for these points of interest, I could right-click the layer and go to Attribute Table. This opens its attribute table. I can move this attribute table around if I want to. I can put it above the map. I can put it in the panel to the side here. But let's put it back into the panel on the bottom. I'm actually going to click X on that so I can show you another way of accessing the attributes table. In the top of the map of the software here, there's a ribbon of different titles. They each do their own thing. They've got a bunch of different options on them. But let's look at this feature layer. It's highlighted in orange because it only appears when I click on a layer in the contents pane. For instance, if I click on the map, it disappears because I don't have those options available to me anymore. But if I click on the points of interest, then it reappears. I can go to the Data tab, and I can activate the attribute table from here. On the Map tab, it says Attributes here. This doesn't access the attribute table, but rather, if I click off the attribute table, it accesses the attributes of single points that you've selected. So if I go to Map and click on Select, I can click on a point. And if I click on Attributes, at the left-hand side here, you can see that point's attributes. Let's go to the attributes table for good this time for the point of interest. Along the top in the columns you have field values, and along the rows you have the points themselves, the shapefiles or feature class. If I scroll down to these 3 points here, 15 to 17, notice that one of them is called Car Parking 1 and the other 2 are called Car Park. I'd like to change the Car Parking 1 to Car Park 1 rather than Car Parking, so I'll get rid of the ing. Click off, and there you go. In order to make sure that edit saves, you go to the Edit tab, where see you have map here along the ribbon, go along to Edit, and click Save. Save all edits? Yes, please.